back to Why Choose Class. I'm Allie, your host, and this is episode 2 of our 6-episode series exploring the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, class, here at Cal Poly Pomona. In our last episode, we kicked things off with Dean Camille Johnson, who shared the mission, values, and vision that guide class. Today, we're continuing that conversation by focusing on the student experience, what it looks like to grow academically, personally, and professionally within class, and how students can shape an educational path that truly fits their goals. To help us dive deeper, we're joined by Dr. Brianne Dávila, Associate Dean of Academic Programs and Student Success, who plays a key role in supporting students and developing the program and opportunities that make class such a dynamic place to learn. Let's get started. Hi, Dr. Dávila. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
To begin, would you be able to briefly introduce yourself and tell us more about your role as Associate Dean here at class?
Absolutely. Well, first, thanks for having me. I'm excited to do this. I am a sociologist by training, so I came through the faculty ranks in the sociology department. My teaching and research background is in social inequality and education, and previously I focused quite a bit of my research on the experience of Latina and Latino students. So I see that all directly related to my current role as Associate Dean of Academic Programs and Student Success. I basically have touch points with students from start to finish. So I'm involved with outreach. So all sorts of events. I will go to career days at local schools. I'll work at our outreach events that we host here on campus. Any sort of activities tailored at exposing prospective students and their supporters to what we offer, I'll have a hand in. Also orientation, new student orientation. So in the summers and before spring semesters when we welcome transfer students, I am involved with the orientation process, making sure students get here and get the courses they need before the end of the day. I work very closely with our advisors, and I also get to have a role in our commencement ceremonies. So that's always really fun too. I think of myself quite a bit as an advocate for students. So in that particular aspect of the position, I review student petitions, I handle student grievances, and I rely quite a bit on our campus partners. So I reach out across the campus quite often. So I am regularly calling upon my friends in the Care Center or in the Disability Resource Center or in the Office of Student Success, just to name a few places. And then another fun way that I'm involved with students is through the scholarship and awards process. So I have the pleasure of contacting our valedictorian every year and getting to share the news with that student. So that's always really fun too.
Oh, that sounds sweet. Well, it sounds like you got the whole college on your shoulders,
Oh,
quite literally. How would you say that class helps students grow, not just academically, but personally and professionally during their time here at Cal Poly Pomona?
In so many ways. I think that we really try to give students an opportunity to network, not just with each other, other students, but also with their faculty and their advisors. So thinking about how to get them working together outside the classroom. So students are really involved in campus leadership. So we have student clubs throughout the college. I think for every major, they have their own club, and there's some clubs that are even interdisciplinary and branching out across majors. One example would be the Social Service Practitioner Alliance that's housed in sociology, really spearheaded by social work students, but aimed at all sorts of students who want to work in the helping professions. And so student leaders will oftentimes organize events, bring in guest speakers, so they're really learning how to network. They're learning how to identify what is it that they need to be successful after Cal Poly, and what can they do to ensure that they get access to those types of support. Like having a guest speaker, right? So they'll bring back alumni. They'll bring back they'll bring folks to campus who do hiring. So the Criminology Club has brought in folks who do entry-level hiring at like the sheriff's department, for example, to give criminology majors a sense of what does it take to get hired by a sheriff's department? What should they be thinking about now to eventually find themselves working in law enforcement? They also have a lot of opportunities to take part in study away programs, specifically faculty-led study away programs. So these are often embedded into a particular course, and then the faculty member is designing their time away. So these are short trips, usually a week or 2 weeks over intersessions, so between semesters during the summer, maybe even spring break, where what they do on those trips is directly related to what they studied in class. So most recently, we had a psychology professor take a group of students to Italy, for example, and she was so excited to do it, and I'm so excited to hear about how that trip went. I know the students are really, really looking forward to it. So it should have been a great time. One last way that we help students develop personally and professionally is through internships. So one thing that comes to mind is how internships are built into course experiences too. So students might get an internship that's unpaid, but they're earning academic credit. So one example that comes to mind is political science offers the judicial internship experience, where students will regularly visit the county courthouse in the city of Pomona. And so, and it's open to all majors, even though it's housed in political science. One student who who's an English education major completed that internship, and she ended up writing her final project on the role of court interpreters and applying that to the inequities really around the types of translation services that are provided to clients who are monolingual Spanish speakers. So she got to make that internship relevant to her course of study, even though it was outside her home department.
Wow, that sounds interesting. I would want to give that one a try.
Yeah, you should look into it.
Well, thanks for that information. CLASS offers a wide range of majors, minors across disciplines. Are there any minors or combinations you think students should consider that they don't normally think about?
There's so many.
Yeah.
So many. Okay, so one interdisciplinary program that we offer is in Geographic Information Systems, which is, that relies on using GIS software to teach students practical mapping and spatial analysis skills. So it's housed in geography, but it's used by a variety of disciplines and industries. So you'll have students who want to go into urban planning, public health, criminology even, who want to minor in GIS because it can inform the types of things that they can do in their job after they graduate. So GIS is a really good example of an interdisciplinary minor housed in CLASS. Another minor that complements well with business majors is economics. So the economics program actually houses 2 foundational courses for all business majors. And so once those students take those 2 courses, we encourage them to consider adding the minor because they just need 4 more economics courses. And econ can be really beneficial in terms of helping students develop skills around making data-informed decisions and strengthening their critical thinking skills, which again would be applicable across industries. Ethnic studies is also housed in CLASS. Ethnic studies helps students build cultural competencies. It helps them establish ethical awareness. Again, I think having a background in ethnic studies would be beneficial for folks working in all sorts of jobs, but especially in helping professions, right, where they might be exposed to populations that they've been, unfamiliar with or haven't had as much exposure to, depending on their own background. So it can be helpful for navigating particular social dynamics, reducing bias, all sorts of things. Spanish. I'm a Spanish minor myself, and I think Spanish is so incredibly useful. We also have a lot of students who show up to Cal Poly who already know how to speak Spanish. So I think adding a minor might be something that's logical for them to do because it establishes some sort of academic credibility, right, with the skill that they already bring to campus. So doing that and then giving them the ability in any job to be able to draw upon translation and interpretation skills. Lots of industries need to be able to reach monolingual Spanish speakers. And so with the Spanish background, Spanish minor, students would be well prepared to do that. And if I could just put a plug in for one more program that I'm a big fan of, I think our theater program has a lot to offer students, especially with regards to developing their public speaking skills. So I think it gives students the ability to build their confidence in sharing what they have to say and sharing who they are and what they know, but also the ability to interact with audiences, right? The ability to understand social cues, or to, get a sense of how is this landing with the people I'm talking to, and then to pivot, to improvise. So I think those are just a few, but we have so many wonderful programs that students should consider.
And I heard you mention, you said you only needed 4, or was it 6 total classes for an econ minor?
For an econ minor, it's 6 total classes, but business majors take 2 of those as part of their major curriculum. So that business majors only need 4 econ classes to pick up the minor.
And for a Spanish minor, how many classes would that be?
So that's a little bit more. I don't have the exact number on the Spanish minor. That's a good question. They also have a few different Spanish minor. So they have the general Spanish minor. They just developed a Spanish media marketing minor in collaboration with the Department of Communication. So that has more units than the general too. And I know that they're really interested in developing an applied Spanish minor that's focused on interpretation and translation services.
Okay, nice. I didn't know that was an option. And I was thinking about taking a communications class just to get better at public speaking, but usually the aura within the theater department is always so much more welcoming and exciting.
They're fun.
So I'd never even considered that. I'm definitely going to think about that.
You should.
Cal Poly Pomona is known for its Become by Doing motto. What does Become by Doing look like for class students on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think the way that it manifests for class students is typically built into the coursework, right? So I know I've mentioned that before. The internship example I gave earlier, so there's a judicial internship. The social work program also requires an internship of students, and we've placed social work interns in our class student success center. So they're working alongside our retention and graduation specialists, learning about on-campus resources and how to better support students who might be struggling academically. We also have placed communication interns in the class dean's office. And so they're working with the college on all sorts of communication and marketing efforts, and applying what they're learning in the classroom, what they're learning in their degree program, to what an organization needs to be successful. So those are internship examples. We're also really heavy in undergraduate research experience, research collaborations with faculty members specifically. Psychology has lots of faculty research labs where they actively recruit undergraduates to support their research projects. Students are involved at every stage of the process: research design, literature reviews, analyzing data, writing up results. And in those opportunities, students get the chance to present locally, so they can present in a class or they can present at a department event. But lots of students will attend regional and sometimes national professional associations to share their research, which is all incredibly important experience for students who are considering graduate school or careers in research. So that's really important too. And then if we can go back to theater and the unique opportunities they provide students, in the theater department are involved in theater productions at every stage of the production process. So they're reading plays together, they're designing costumes, they're designing sets, right? They're engaging in stage management, all sorts of things. They're doing talkbacks, and they're sharing their experience with the audience. It's really fascinating how in one semester they're able to do all of that. So if you haven't checked out a theater production yet, you should do that too.
I've definitely been thinking about what I want to take a extracurricular class, and I haven't been sure what it's going to be in, so I'm being swayed.
I highly recommend community-based theater.
Okay.
That's a really great class.
I'm being swayed. I did take like a prop design one.
Oh, nice.
At Humboldt one time, so I'm definitely gonna look into that.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, I think definitely like there's the term "become by doing." At first, sounds pretty daunting, but like from my own experience, you know, I started college right out of high school, which was 2018. So I've had a pretty long and interesting academic journey, to say the least. Sure. But finding community and finding a place where I feel like I'm wanted and I feel like belonging definitely helps. And having not only staff, faculty, but the professors also to like be that supportive help and that push. And it's like, you know, you got to apply yourself as well, and you definitely see the outcomes, you know. It's becoming isn't something you necessarily wait for, it's something you do.
Yes.
So I definitely think that it's a very big part of the college, and, you know, like you said, it's super one-on-one and, you know.
Built into the experience.
Yes.
That's what we're hoping to provide students.
Exactly. I love it here.
Yay.
10 out of 10 experience, guys.
Yay.
Join us.
I'm so glad.
And before we wrap up, do you have any final words for our listeners who may be considering joining class?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think students who are considering class should come visit and get a feel for it, right? You know, see how it makes them feel. There's lots of ways to do that. So you can come see a production. You can attend a music recital. The Songwriter Showcase is one I'm constantly encouraging people to attend because it's a course offered in the music department that invites students to produce and perform their original songs. And so it's a really fun concert, and it's a really fun way to witness how students support each other's creative activities. And so, you know, come see what we do here. Check it out. More formal opportunities exist, like attending our Bronco Bound in the spring or our fall preview day in fall semester. And class has a unique opportunity called Take a Seat program. So admitted students will receive an email inviting them to sit in on a lecture offered by a class professor so they can see what type of teaching and learning happens here. And I think, you know, we also have a really good track record of pulling in our undeclared majors, exploratory majors, getting students to recognize, you know, what are they responding to in the classroom? What are the readings they're excited about doing? What are the lectures they're excited to attend? What are the assignments that they find themselves enjoying doing? Those are all signs that that's the major you should pursue. And so don't cheat yourself, expose yourself to all that class has to offer.
Well, thank you so much for your insight, Dr. Dávila. We really appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
Your perspective really, you know, it really helps guide us, and it highlights how class supports students in building not only strong academic foundations, but also the skills, confidence, and experiences they'll carry into their futures. That's all for today's episode of Why Choose Class. In our next episode, we'll continue the journey by spotlighting specific academic areas and experiences within the college, giving you an even closer look at how students put become by doing into action. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.